You can visit Azkaban, enter inside all other common rooms, and even find out a lot more cool secrets in Hogwarts Legacy. That's why in today's video we'll talk about even more hidden features you should know of, so if you enjoy it at any point, a like would be really appreciated. But I did not realize there are a lot more differences between the 4 different houses until I started a second and then a third playthrough, though for the most part they are reserved to the early stages of the game. Like for example, the way in which you hear about Richard Jackdaw will completely change depending who you play as, and by far the coolest are going to be the Hufflepuff since they give you a trip towards Azkaban. So in their version, after the potion class is done, you get the mission called Prisoner of Love, in which you have to talk to a painting in the Hufflepuff common rooms. This will eventually bring you to a small village northeast of Hogsmeade to meet with Helen Thistlewood. If you do agree with her, she'll actually take you on a trip to Azkaban so that you can ask a prisoner kept inside about Jackdaw's riddle. It's also our first and only visit in the prison, as well as, well, pretty much seeing the Mentors for the first time guarding it, and there's a cool scene playing over there that you should definitely check out. My only gripe with it is that it's so short that you barely even get to take it all in, but it's nice nonetheless to see it. Meanwhile, for the Slytherin, I would say this is probably the second best right after Hufflepuff's. This one will start Scrope's Last Hope, where you have to just follow a series of clues towards the nearby beach down by the castle. Scrope will point you towards the secret giant squid cave below the castle, including how to open it, so it's a pretty awesome to see Easter egg that you get relatively early. Of course, it is just a cave, but it also changes Jackdaw's location as he now shows up in this cave rather than the previous one in the village, like how it was for the Hufflepuff version. Now for the Gryffindor, it's slightly different as the ghost of Nicholas, who you find next to the 3 hourglasses near the Grand Hall, is who will guide you at the start of it. So this one is actually pretty awesome because it brings you to the otherwise inaccessible kitchen area where you can see some of the other elves, how they prepare the food for everybody at Hogwarts. Good to note is that this is also one of the quests that bring you to the nearby cemetery and the same scene we saw from the pre-release trailers. Eventually, the quest will require you to smash a number of pumpkins in a nearby village until you find the missing head, and this is how the quest is done before it moves to the same common part that all other quests have. Meanwhile, for the Ravenclaw, the mission that starts instead is going to be called Ollivander's Heirloom, as he's going to contact you about a special item that you have to find for him, also involving Jackdaw, but you do have to visit his shop again in Hogsmeade. Once you do get there and get the clues, this will lead you back towards the Owlry at the Hogwarts Castle, where you have to complete a pretty easy puzzle. This one will involve a number of owl statues that you have to place next to one of these main areas over there, and once you do that, yeah, the ghost will show up and you're gonna be able to complete the quest exactly the same as all other 4 houses. Now moving on to number 2, I'm not very sure how many of you noticed this, but there are star variants of most of the creatures you can capture in Hogwarts Legacy. If you ever played any games such as Pokemon, it's kind of like that, where you can find unique and very rare variants of the same creatures, but with interesting new traits and different sizes. You can of course check all of this whenever you're in a camp of new creatures by simply looking at their names, or also looking next to their names when they are back at your vivariums. If it displays a +/star sign next to the name, this is pretty much a star or a special version of the same creature. You can also look, of course, at them visually, as most star variants tend to be much larger than the other members of the same species, and a lot of them will also have unique colors. Most of the ones that I found were albino, so as you can see, they do come with a very bright white color, and in the case of some of them, they were quite significantly larger than some of the other members of the same species. I believe there's also gold colors in there, especially for the unicorn. I do know that this one can spawn with a gold color as well. Interesting enough, offsprings can also turn up with a special star rating as well, even if they were bred from 2 completely regular specimens. As far as I can tell, there aren't any different stats besides the bigger size and the coloring, and I also tested out the crafting mat's yield, and yes, it's pretty much the same across the board. There isn't any difference there either. The only reason I guess you'd want to get these is just for the unique looks and the status. But moving on, Hogwarts has multiple secret vendors around the map that will sell special loot that you cannot find anywhere else. For example, Leopold, which is one of the vendors you can find in a couple of locations, including right behind the walls of the Hogsmeade station, does sell a very interesting flying broom. This one is called the Sky Scythe and it costs 5,000 to purchase, plus it also comes with a unique green kind of like painting on the back side, which I think it looks pretty okay. I'm not so sure though if it's warrant those 5,000 galleons to purchase it, but hey, it's a unique one and there's definitely a collection for it. Another one is Rohan and you can find him on the second map right here near one of these teleport points. He will sell you the slightly cheaper Aeromancer broom for just 3,000, but this one comes with a pretty interesting back and an incense jar on the front side that leaves a slight visible trail whenever you fly. Of course, there's at least one more vendor that also sells one of these brooms, and you just have to pay attention to the ones that spawn near some of these roads instead of the main cities. This is usually how you will find some of these more obscure vendors. Now, coming up next, there's actually a way to enter all common room areas no matter which house you belong to, thanks to a rather easy glitch that you can do relatively early. And I'll give a big shout out to Golden Hawk, who already shows the trick for all the houses on her channel, so make sure you follow the video links down below to see that more extensively. But long story short, to enter any of the other common rooms, you just have to start from Arendelle further down south right here on this side of the map. Here you will see this house with a piece of cloth by its entrance, and all you have to do is to just get near it on foot, and once you bump into it, your character should glitch through the ground and then fall down on the platform below. You just have to make sure that you're on the cloth side closest to the house door so that you can actually hit that platform and not fall to your death. From this point on, the game just lets you summon your mount, so it's pretty easy to just fly under the map until you reach the Hogwarts castle. And once you're at this point, you'll want to make a save file because depending which house common you want to enter, you're going to have to like go through a different place. In the case of the Gryffindor, you'll want to make sure you're under the Faculty Tower waypoint and then slowly make your way up inside of the tower. Once you do reach this area with the travel point, simply go straight ahead and then take it to the right until you see this lady from the Gryffindor Commons door. If you go past her, you're going to see a small white square in the background that the game actually lets you land on, and this is going to immediately spawn you inside of the common rooms. And no joke, here's proof that I'm a Slytherin while still completely in a different room than I should be, and I won't lie, I enjoyed paying them a visit with a different character to see what's going on. And before you ask, yes, you can open any of the normal treasure chests inside, such as the regular ones, but not the house treasure, even if you already unlocked yours, since you obviously lack the 16 or so tokens needed for it. Also, you can activate the fast travel point, but it doesn't seem to show up on the map for anyone but those who do belong to the actual house. For the Ravenclaw, it's a bit more complicated but still doable. You'll want to basically start from beneath the Ravenclaw tower and then make your way up almost to the top until you see its large distinctive archways and statues. From here, turn to the wall southeast that features these two posters onto the side. Once you're here, try to get close-ish to the first one onto the right side and then just spam landing right above it until you hopefully can dismount straight into the Ravenclaw rooms. Again, just like in the previous case, you get full access inside, including the upper balcony that you can also open up with a level 1 Alohomora in case you want a bit of fresh air. Finally, for the Hufflepuff, it was easier as you just need to get under the Great Hall waypoint and then just make your way up to it until you see these larger windows in the backside. Once you're here, just take a look to your right side and head over in a slightly descending pattern. You should already see the outlines of the common rooms here, so head over a little bit deeper and then just head over to the left side in this smaller gap in the walls. Once you reach here, try to spam your landing button and eventually it should let you spawn inside of the dorm areas. I'm pretty sure Hufflepuff also have the most amount of treasures inside, so you can totally go ahead, open them for some nice extra loot. And that pretty much concludes all of the recent secrets and other cool things that you can do in this game, and totally let me know down below if you found any others. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.